Inside Warner Brothers Games, big live service push and doubling down on DC games with Game of Thrones and other franchises. The WB Discovery Chief, who can't go one earnings call without boasting about the power of the company's rich trove of IPs, used the Q3 address as a chance to announce plans to level up the video game division, which says constantly enjoying amongst the highest ROI of any other business. Okay, this is where Zaslav loved the franchise meets his plans of domination of the nearly $200 billion gaming industry. While smaller than some of the most leading pure-play gaming companies, namely Electronic Arts, Nintendo, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, as well as publishing competitors Sony, PlayStation, and Microsoft Gaming, Warner Brothers Games has managed to comparable operating margins as punching above their weight class, and thanks for the IP's company values at $1 billion apiece in the gaming world. Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and DC, and Mortal Kombat. There's, quote, a very consistent message coming from the executive layer of Warner Brothers Discovery and the importance of the franchise. He says, President of Warner Brothers Interactive tells Variety, there's a unique, important role of games and also keeping the franchise relevant. Resonates and existing because there's plenty of fans and plenty of people consuming content where games are and the starting point. Now, the two franchises of WB Discovery profited from the most of in 2023 are Mortal Kombat and the release of Mortal Kombat 1, which sold 3 million copies since the September release, and Harry Potter with last February launch of Hogwarts Legacy, which now has crossed over 24 million copies sold as the best-selling game of 2023 worldwide per Warner Brothers. Okay, so there you can see Hogwarts, Call of Duty, Madden, Marvel, Legends of Zelda, Diablo, Call of Duty, Mortal Kombat, Star Wars, and EA. So EA's got 1, 2 on there, 3 on there with Jedi Survivor. Warner Brothers has got Hogwarts and Mortal Kombat 1 and 8. Not bad. Not bad. So those impressive sales figures caught Zaslav and CFO Gunnar Windefels, who focused on reducing Warner Brothers Discovery's massive post-merge debt, enough to signal the industry of the gaming division and the company's new darling in the patch profitability. Now, he says, quote, I've doubled and triple-checked some of the metrics here, and this is also great investment opportunities. He says, during a third quarter calling, adding stunned that even haven't been investing more into this opportunity, we're going to start tackling that. Okay? So, as you can see, that, what is this? Publicly traded companies by gaming revenue. Okay, 10 cents up there. Sony's up there, and then it starts to go down. Apple, Microsoft, NetEase, Google, Activision, Blizzard, Electronic Arts, Nintendo, and then Take-Two Interactive. Now, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO, Global Streaming of Gaming, JB, period, a variety, and the key topping of those numbers and figures out ways to make the prized IP more than just one great hit every 3 or 4 years. Okay, he says, quote, we want to be always on, and there's good news of the gaming space is lending itself to that. This is why they're doing live service games. Okay, the executive is referring to the success of big franchises that have been recently in the offering, not just splashy console and PC video games, but also live service, mobile, and free-to-play titles with all of the same IP universes. He says that the combination is what we're looking for. Build out for each of Warner Brothers' most valued franchises, but Warner's gaming titles are on the long cycle, and the plan can't be delivered on in 2024. Okay, with the focus shifting from console to PC-based games with 3 to 4 year release schedules, a good example is expected more from the Warner Brothers' mobile games like Game of Thrones Conquest, which also checks that always on box and keeps the TV franchise fresh in people's minds between TV shows. Now, he says the success of the game means that we're constantly looking to see what else we can do in the game of the Game of Thrones and now House of Dragons world, which is one of the biggest, most popular audience franchises. Okay, so obviously there'll probably be a Game of Thrones video game coming down the line, but their mobile game, Game of Thrones Conquest, is doing quite well for them. So this is why they also keep in the mind, I say this all the time, cross-promotion, right? It doesn't matter if it's a video game, a TV show, a book, comic book, right, a movie. They do the cross-promotion, where all of a sudden you're playing, let's say Suicide Squad, and all of a sudden you want to go watch Suicide Squad the movie. Or you're playing Suicide Squad, and all of a sudden you want to go back and watch Batman again, right? It gets you fresh in your mind. When it comes to expand the DC-focused gaming offering, they're also looking for DC Studio Chief James Gunn and Peter Safran, who also announced plans to incorporate video games into the revamped canon moving forward. Now, I talked about this over a year ago. Okay, James Gunn came out and said about the Elseworlds. Okay, now all of a sudden the Elseworlds have always been in the DC universe. Okay, but James Gunn talking about the Elseworld is different than just saying that in the comics the Elseworld is different universes. They're talking about the Elseworld in a way of they're going to do crossovers from the movies to the TV shows, from the TV shows to the comics to the games, and they're all connected somehow. Hence why Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League could be very interesting going forward, right? I talked about this last week when the game came out, or weeks before. I said if in 2025 all of a sudden Peacemaker Season 2 comes out, even though it's John Cena, okay, playing Peacemaker, they could do cross-promotion and bring Peacemaker in the game. Doesn't mean it has to be John Cena. It could be John Cena, but it could be just in the game because it's cross-promotion. New season coming out, Peacemaker in the game. Not saying they're doing it, just saying it's more possible that they would be doing this. Okay? It says, frankly, there hasn't been close of a relationship between the studio and the game's business as there should have been. And James is actually a gamer who haven't been someone who's passionate about the super helpful. Okay, adding to Warner Brothers Games is actively working with Gunn and Safran on the core franchises within the DC universe. It says, however, the plan isn't to be religious about what they're creating across divisions. While they're working on Superman movie title, they're not going to launch a Superman game purely because we feel obligated. Okay, we have to do something that makes sense for the gaming strategy for fans, for the consumer. Right? So again, just because they make something doesn't mean they're going to put it in, but it's there. So in the 2024 prediction report, it says analysts drew a strong correlation between the success of the films and TV shows and their offering of video games based on the same IP, noting that several of the top 50 grossing films for 2023 have corresponding hit games. Their analysts estimate that the share of the theatrical box office revenues from video games IP will double by 2025, and the most of the top streamers will be home to show base of games at the point of following the massive success of HBO's Last of Us, an adaptation of PlayStation game of the same name. Now, Westcott notes that there also estimates that based on the current trends, one of the main reasons there's so much interest in doubling down on gaming, there's another piece of the industry that's noticing that it says it's about time. It says, quote, if you look at those companies that have a large streaming platform, they're dealing with 3+% per month churn on those subscribers. Okay, with live games, there's one of the gaming industries now talking about have a very, very small churn rate compared to streaming. So you're seeing more and more of streaming players saying, why don't they add games as part of the entertainment offering? Games have lower churn rate, and music has a lower churn rate. It's also been recommending that of our clients. This also think about the offering of a whole new slew of other types of digital entertainment. Why not have their podcasts and their digital books and their games and their streaming video under single, more bundled subscription? As a head of both streaming and gaming, of course, they love to see Warner Brothers games come together in some form. However, Max needs to learn to walk with the TV and film programming before it can run with the games. We have a lot of ideas that we think about natural collaboration and should be able to come with the forefront. The reality is, step one in the Max process of doing the basics better, as part of that, of our energy right now is the first 2/3 of 2024 is just around getting to Max launch and replatform and the consumers around the world. We look at later 2024 into 2025 and the free up resources and the energy engineering that can start experimenting with some of the ideas that we have between games and streaming. So everyone wants this game to die, right? Everyone wants, well, I shouldn't say everyone. The people that hate Suicide Squad want this to fail. And regardless, WB and Suicide Squad and Rocksteady are here to stay for at least 2 to 3 years, because the plan that WB has, at least in my opinion, is that, look, Anthem lasted 2 years before they said, we're not going to continue supporting it. Avengers lasted 3 years before they said, we're not supporting it. There's no way, in my opinion, especially with Warner Brothers, plan in the future here, that they're going to stop this game and all of a sudden this game is dead within the next 6 to 8 to 10 months. Okay? They're going to stick what it is. They're going to keep doing what they're doing because the game's already finished and made. Those things, that content's coming. Okay? They have 20 months or 24 months worth of content ready in this game. Inside the game itself, they show you 6 seasons. Okay? Because if you got to the end game, you'll know what screen I'm talking about. With the Finite Crisis, they show you what the remainder seasons. There's two baddies every season, and they show 6 seasons. So Suicide Squad, even if it has a bad turnout right now, is not going anywhere. They have the investment already. They've already pumped in the money that they're going to pump into it, and they might even pump even more into it to see what happens when the new movies come out, or the new TV shows come out, and the new comics come out, and then also keeping this game going because that's what they want to do. Also, Hogwarts Legacy. Hogwarts Legacy, the game's done. It's been out for a year. Are they going to make DLC for it? Or are they going to move on over to the next Hogwarts Legacy 2? They could turn this into a Hogwarts Legacy online type of thing like Grand Theft Auto, but who knows, right? These are just my thoughts. Now, with all the time money is spent on Hogwarts Legacy in 2023, the main gaming franchise that focused on expanding this Potterverse. This includes the previously announced title featuring Quidditch, the Wizard sport that sadly got left out of Hogwarts Legacy, currently in beta testing in phases. Okay, I played that. It's actually pretty fun, but it's not part of Hogwarts Legacy. Coming up, Warner Brothers Games will be launching Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League on February 2nd, which this article is past that. Free-to-play brawler multiverses into the wide release. This game also features Warner Brothers' own characters ready to battle, which is the brawler multiverses, which came out in beta, got taken down for like a year, and it's supposed to come back this summer sometime. So it says the most legacy Hollywood companies have shifted their game business to licensing models. Warner Brothers Games remains the only major studio with an in-house video game business other than Sony Pictures, which works with the PlayStation corporate sibling under the Sony Corporation umbrella. Whether the better strategy than outsourcing it is questioned, is also going into 25 to 30 years, says Scott. He says, we also have been multiple studios try to bring in the house and realize that we're really hard to develop the AAA games and making big blockbusters. So why not just license the IP and have someone else who's really good at doing it? Well, I would say that there's not one single model that's successful. The question is, do you want to build the core capabilities within your own organization? Create high-quality games is a very different business than creating a television series or movie series, and it takes a whole different team, but Warner Brothers Discovery is clearly doubling down on the internal efforts and long-term plans of growing through the live games, mobile games, and also more selective console releases. Now, people might not like Suicide Squad, but the production value is very high, okay? Rocksteady, again, I trust Rocksteady for telling me the stories that they told in Arkhamverse, okay? They had really 3 great games in the Batman Arkhamverse, and they told really good stories. This one's yet another good story, in my opinion, okay? It's just different, but it's still a good story, and I think that going forward, Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, Season 5, Season 6, I think will all connect, and at the end of this, if the game doesn't continue on after that and it ends on Season 6, so be it, as long as when we go back and look at the entire progress and the entire story of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, I think it'll be a good story. Okay? It says, when asked when the goals are, really that the macro goal is making sure that this is one of the most engagement at this time and fans possible, he says. Now, with more than 707 million hours of Hogwarts Legacy played in 2023, Warner Brothers Games certainly making good progress. So, again, Warner Brothers, out of all the flops that they have in the film industry, they have, so far, Mortal Kombat was a success for them, for what type of game it was. Hogwarts Legacy was a major success for them. So if Suicide Squad is not a success for them, or doesn't become a success for them, Hogwarts fills in that gap, because it doesn't matter, just like in the film industry, a company can release 10 movies a year. 3 of those films will make a profit. The other 7 will lose money for them. 2 of those movies will break even or just a little bit above, and then 1 of those movies will be a blockbuster, which covers the cost of everything else that they've done. But overall, the company will be profitable in the long run. That's what I think Warner Brothers is starting to try to do with actual video games. Now, obviously, they're not making 10 games within a year, okay? They're making a certain amount of games per year, and they want the longevity of those, and this is why they're going more towards live service, okay? They also have brands in the WB IP area, which is more comic booky and whatnot. They have tons and tons of characters that they can rely on in the DC universe to make single-player games, live service games, multiplayer games. They can do a lot with this. So in the future, not only do I think we're getting a Wonder Woman game, but I think we will get other characters down the road. Gotham Knights still did pretty damn good for what it was, and I think that they're going to just make more games like that. There's a huge IP to go for. It's just, I think once the clientele gets away from, we just want another Batman game, and they start looking into, like, the Wonder Woman game coming, I think other people would start to go, oh, I see what they're doing here. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, and subscribe. And if you like what we do here, make sure you check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching.